Okay, let me check. Hi everyone. So I'm waiting you to join this live video. I hope you can hear me. And in today's video, we will be reviewing the color theory. We will be looking, I will show you some color theory that I have so we can discuss what pigments to use, what pigments I use. Hi everybody. The difference between microblading and machine hairstroke, and also the questions I received about how to use the shading solution, maybe even how to hold the machine. So all these questions we will review today. And also I'm waiting for you guys to leave the questions here as well so I can answer them. So how do you... Hi, Justine. So first of all, I am locked down in quarantine for 2 weeks here in my apartment, and I have a lot of time to answer your questions. So if you have, besides this live video, further questions, you have all my attention for 2 weeks, 24/7. Hi everybody. So let's start. I collected the questions, so let me open them on my another phone. So I will answer, and then we will go to color theory to look at my computer. So I will explain to you more. Okay, the first question. So the first question, we will try to make it as fast as possible. So I still don't know how to use the shading solution. So how do I use the shading solution? For powder brows, do we use for powder? For microblading, how to use it? My technique, let me show you guys. So my technique is really light with my shading. That's why I don't use shading solution. But if you're a beginner and you're worried to overdo your front or the arches, sometimes you go too deep, right? I receive a lot of messages why my color is so strong, or it got blue, or it's too deep. If you have these problems with the pressure, it means you have to use shading solution. You can imagine the shading solution is like a water that dilute your pigment. Also, if you're using the Tina Davis pigments or permablend, they dry out really fast. So just a tiny bit of shading solution will make them not dry out that fast. But in general, for me, I don't use shading solution. But if I've been working for too long and the shading solution... By the way, guys, let me know if you can hear me. Otherwise, I'm talking here. I don't know if you guys hear me. And then it dries out. I add a drop of shading solution. If you want to work on the front, you're afraid the front to be dark, you can add 2 drops of shading. So maybe you have 4 parts of the pigment, and you can add 1 drop of the shading solution when you do the front. Okay? So I hope, yes, I can hear you, great. That's perfect. So next question about how long does the Tina pigments last? I think over 2 years, depends also in the intensity. My technique again is light, so I usually create light eyebrows. Usually they last 2 years, but I can imagine if you do very solid color, it can last up to 6-10 years, especially with a dark color. There's different techniques. My technique is more towards natural soft powder, like maybe a mist or very soft color. So later I will also show you the colors I use, like on my computer, the colors I use for Tina Davis. Do you want me to show you right now the Tina Davis pigments, which color I choose for which clients? Maybe we can go over this right now. Hold on. So how do you choose the colors? Because the thing is, I don't want you to bother with Tina Davis pigments if you're not using Tina Davis pigments. So if you guys use Tina Davis pigments, I can go over the pigments I use. Okay, so I see some of you guys said yes. So let's review the Tina Davis pigments. The Tina Davis pigments I use for shading. The Permablend is this is the same brand. So Tina Davis created her line from Permablend. I haven't used Permablend, but I am using Tina Davis just because she, I don't know, she has colors. But the disadvantages of her pigments are that they looked orangey after procedure. They do cool into normal color after the brows are healed, but after procedure they use it looks orangey. So I do have to cool down when I post the pictures. I cool down all the redness, so I remove all the redness from my photos, and that's something I suggest. Not suggest, that's something I do. So let me switch this over. Okay, so this is her line. I want to show you guys this colors here are really orangey warm colors. So if your client's hair color is really brown to red, then I would suggest to use them. This one is also, you can see the bottom line, so it's also a bit reddish color, right? The ebony is the only color that is more towards ash blue gray color. This is really for eyeliners, it's black. So if you use for eyeliner, it's going to be even heel blue. So a lot of people complain, so if it heals blue, what to do? What color should I use for eyeliner if the client doesn't want to have blue eyeliner? So I usually add a drop of bold brown together for eyeliner, because this is like a warm darkest brown. So together it won't give you the blue, it will give you black. Actually, for the male clients or for anyone who wants to have black, even the hair strokes or brows, I use these 5. Hello guys, welcome. I use maybe let me check. This is I wrote this here. So I use, okay, so four parts for the black, darkest black. I use 4 parts of brown and 1 drop of ebony, okay? And if you want to maybe eyeliner, do eyeliner, maybe 3 drops of this one and 1 drop of bold, or 4 drops and 1 drop of this one for eyeliner. But for like black eyebrows, this is the thing. So you can guys have a screenshot or just to remember this one. Now, if there's a two parts of the clients, you guys have been asking me. I'm back. So you guys been asking me, how do you choose the color? I wish every single educator was as kind, as helpful as you. Oh my god, thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so how do I choose the color? I choose 2 types, warm colors and ash colors. I see the client and I see what color shade will suit to her, the ash brown or the warm brown. Most of the cases is usually the clients want to have ash. Nobody wants to have warm, and especially after 1 year it's going to be even warmer because the residue after color will get warmer. So you can think of, if her color is really browny, maybe more closer to the red tone, it's usually the warm side. If her hair color is like mine, more ashy, or she likes to use the ash pencil color, I always ask clients what kind of pencil they use. They bring the pencil to procedure. They also draw their eyebrows on procedure, before procedure, coming to me so I can see the color they use. So I judge by the hair, by the pencil or the color they use on their brows, or if it's microblading, I judge by their natural hair. So the question is how to identify if it's ash or if it's warm brown, okay? And this is going to be a little bit difficult part, but if it's light color, I like to use just this color, okay, ash brown. If she wants to, but if she wants to have just a darker ash brown, how do we darken this? We just add a drop of bold brown to darken this color. If she wants to have even darker color, we just add a drop of this one. But remember, this is a really cool pigment, so it's going to make this pigment even cooler. So I still add a drop of this one and a little bit, tiny bit of this one. I know it sounds complicated, but that's how this line is for me, and maybe there's a better way. That's how I do this. Okay, so again, question: natural hair color or dyed hair? Because look guys, you need to ask your client, I mean, usually what type of hair color she wears. Of course we can dye different hair color in 1 month. That's a tricky part, but still people tend to dye their hair in either ash or warm colors, just how they used to. Or you can ask her how she used to, what color she used, or if she plans to dye her hair color in the future. But usually it's still, people tend to lean towards either ash colors throughout their life or to the warm side throughout their lives. If I've had a picture, I would show you how the warm color looks like. Like this is, I would say she's ash, more closer to ash, because she has olive colors over here. She doesn't have this crazy warm colors. She's also, actually she could be both. She has here some worms, but I mean, I don't know how it's on the phone, but when I see on computer, it's a bit, it's cool. It's still a cool tone of dark brown, so it's not a reddish warm tone. What I mean is these colors are a bit reddish, so I still cool them down. How about Asian skin? So Asian skin, I don't pick the color as for the skin, because I know there's the theory, the Patrick theory about the skin tone. It doesn't, these colors are quite stable, so they do not change the color that much. They stay to true color. So if Asians, how should I find the Asians? I still buy the hair color. So this is obviously is black. If I want to create the black eyebrows, then I go with bold, adding ebony. If I want to have the medium, like for this one, right? She has a dark brown color, so she wants to have like a dark eyebrows, but not black. Probably the bold brown will do, but bold brown through time will get into a bit warm color like this. So you can show this to her and ask, do you want through time, do you want to have it healed into more like brownish, closer to warm tone, or do you still prefer having it cooler or ashier? If she wants to cooler or ashier, you can add ebony. This is a really cool color, right? But then if you add ebony, it's going to darken the whole situation. So what you can do is use dark brown and add a little bit drop. This will cool the dark brown, but make it to dark brown. I hope it's not so complicated. And then if the client really wants to have like really warm colors, just use these as they are. If the client wants to have ash brown and not dark ash brown, just use this one. But if you want to darken ash brown, if you want to have dark ash brown, you're going to add these pigments into ash brown, either bold brown or ebony. Okay, so let me read what you guys wrote here. What color would you use to cover up red? Ooh, hold on. The coverage will be the next one after this one. I think this live video is quite long. As for the pigments fades on healing, do you need to select a shade darker than their natural hair color? I do this on touch up. So on first procedure, I select just the pigment as they want. So for instance, if they want to have medium brown, I choose medium brown, although I know medium brown after it heals will go to the shade lighter. That is fine, because I just want to see how much color drops after the first healing, and I explained this to them that it's going to be very light, but it's fine, at least we know how much it drops. And then on touch up I will already select shade darker and do the procedure. But also depends on your technique. Sometimes if your technique is really dense, then probably the color, if you want medium, you can pick the medium. My shading is light, so it's lighten up a lot, so that's why I need to use the darker shade. Do you use orange modifier with dark brown and ebony? No, because dark brown is very orangey, so it heals kind of towards the red side. Ebony heals towards the blue side. So if I want to warm up the ebony, I can add the warm pigments. If I want to cool down the reddish pigments such as medium brown, dark brown, I add drop of ebony or bold with ebony together. Do you have experience with LI pigments? No, I'm beginner, so that's what I've been using. Lee pigments or LI pigments, I've heard from another artist, they could fade into purple color after a year. That's what I've heard. That's why I've never tried them. But a lot of artists are using them. And another thing, because on very good skin, they heal nice, but if the skin is oily or it's not as tight skin, the healing is more poor. So the ability of Tina Davis pigments get inside the skin and stay there is much way higher. So you have to then LI pigments, and they fade also faster. So if you want to have more healed result after the first procedure, you can use Permablend Tina Davis pigments. I see Fibrous pigments on the screen. Do you know Fib pigments to compare to Tina Davis? So Fibrous pigments I use for microblading, and I use Fibrous pigments for machine hairstroke. I know it sounds complicated. Let me try to explain. Okay, don't be too confused. Fibrous I use for microblading because I think it's so easy to use them. They are true to color. Usually for microblading, I stick to natural eyebrow hair color. I'm not going into hair colors at all. For microblading, I stick to match the brow hair. If you want to have another colors for shading, you can put on top shading with another colors. You can use Tina Davis. I know you can use microblading with Fibrous and use shading from another brand. It's fine unless you don't mix Fibrous and Tina Davis in one ring cap. Don't do this. But if you separately do microblading with one brand, shading with another brand, it is fine. The reason why I like Fibrous for microblading and I suggest to use them is because they are easy to use and they stay really nicely in the cut, and they heal as they are without going blue, red, or they're the most neutral colors as you can find, so they will not give you any blue, red results. They are true to neutral brown. And they don't look orangey after the procedure. So that's the problem with Tina Davis. However, guys, by the way, about Tina Davis, if you're going to buy Tina Davis products, you can use my discount code beauty/15. This is for Tina Davis. Now there's another pigment line that I've tried recently, is Nichola Pigments. If you have guys heard, I'm testing them. They don't look orangey after procedure, but they are really watery, so they are hard to use. So you have to use the ring with a sponge inside, not to spill out. And they are also, the healed result after them, after the first procedure, is almost like 80% or 90%, really high percentage that is going to be, everything going to be healed. But again, if you're a beginner, maybe that would be an issue for you. Maybe you don't want to all your mistakes to be healed. What happens when we use cool color on warm skin tone? I've been bothered with this myself a long time ago, and then I realized it's nothing to be bothered about. You just have to see by the hair color. However, indeed, for some skin tones, one color can be healed to cooler side. For another skin tones, the color can be cooled to warmer side, to cooler or to warmer, different, one pigment to different sides. And I would say yes, it could depend on this skin color tone or the thickness. For the thicker, it heals to one side. But you know what? Different artists told me different opposite answers for this question, and I myself realized that indeed for different skin it's unpredictable. Unfortunately, it might be this way because the skin is thicker, because it's the cooler tone of skin, might be this way, but it healed into other ways. So my solution, with my experience, I can tell you, see on your first procedure, you can tell the client, so let's the first procedure just to test how the color will heal, and then on touch up we can adjust from there. So you can pick the color, the one you use, you can see how it heals. If it's too warm, then definitely you have to use a cooler color. That's why this procedure is 2 times procedure, because the skin unfortunately is unpredictable, and I wish to give you the solution like, oh, Asian skin is considered to be a warm skin color, that's why you have to use a cooler. Well, maybe, but not in every cases. So every client you use 4 drops of pigment color. So it's around 6 drops in total, or 5 drops. So for instance, actually I haven't counted. Yeah, but no, I did 4 drops and 1 drop of like for instance ebony to cool down. So what app do you use to edit redness from photos? So I use Photoshop Fix. It's a little bit complicated. I do have to have the whole, I'm still like about this photo editing course that I've planned a long time ago. I mean, I will do it eventually, I guess. But I will try to show how to cool down the redness. But Photoshop Fix. So I just paint over with a brush. I pick the color for the brush, which is brown, and paint over the brow area. So it just turns the red into ash color somehow. I don't know how I came up with this, but I just think it was just by accident. Or because I knew how to use the Photoshop before, so I know the layers and stuff. But it's really easy. Photoshop Fix. Ebony with, you need to rewrite this because ebony maroon, medium brown. Do you mean medium brown? I'm not sure what you wrote, but if you're going to, because look, if you're just going to use ebony for the brows, you don't use ebony for the brows. I use like 0.5 drop of ebony adding to another pigments because it's so cool. But if you're going to use the eyeliner, you can use 3 drops of ebony, 2 drops of bold. It's also fine. You can mix just to see if it's not too black. Cover grade all tattoo. So I will talk about this in a moment, about the coverage. We're going back to the computer. I also used LI pigments, and I'm switching to Tina Davis. I have problems to put the color on the skin. It's too watery. I think I need more passes. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So it's about the pressure, and I've noticed two mistakes that my students do. One girl, when she's doing the shading, she's basically doing like this. It's too light. It's too light. It's not going to do. Another one is doing like this. But the thing is, if you guys did manual shading, if you ever did manual shading, you do know we have to do the pick, right? Pick the skin to get the pigment inside with manual tool. Why I'm talking about manual tool now? Because it's the same with machine. You have to have the swing to make the needle come inside the skin, get inside the skin. If you're doing like this, the power of the needle is not enough to inject the pigment, okay? Unless you're really holding just 90 degree, then it can. If you're doing this way, it's not going to get. So that's why I always say you have to put your hand quite upwards to have the swing and then get it in. So you see my two fingers are doing this move. They are pushing machine up and then they are getting in. The bigger the swing, the better. So usually how you would practice is you would practice like this, right? So I ask my students to have the paper this way so I can see that they really make this swing. Okay? So maybe try stronger if it doesn't get inside. Better swing and stronger. Have you used soft tab pigments? I haven't. Because yeah, I haven't. I will save this live video. Can you be my mentor? Guys, I can help as much as possible. Feel free to text me on line. And I do suggest because look, even I'm talking to you right now, it's all mess. It's not that structured. I think the best way is always the training, and actually online training, not offline, because online you can always come back to the videos. They are all organized. You can find the materials, and if you have the questions, you can ask in the groups, Facebook groups, and etc. So it's going to be much cheaper and much more effective. I use Tina Davis Espresso and Blackish Brown on Latina. It's completely disappeared. This is because I didn't go enough passes. But the skin looked red and bleeding. Okay, this is the answer. The skin looked red and bleeding. That means in very rare cases, the skin of the clients is really bleeds and not really suitable for shading. In most of the cases, it's our artist's problem how we do shading. I used to do this shading when I was pressing too much. So I press too much and I do inside rather than doing the swing as I showed you guys from outside, and just be as gentle as possible. And if the skin gets red, then your shading is wrong. And of course, if it looks red and if it's bleeding, especially if it's bleeding, but that could be, of course, the clients. If your shading is fine, if it's doesn't have any shading, I mean, your technique doesn't have. Sorry, guys. So if it got red, it will disappear. It will not heal, because you created a lot of trauma to the skin. If there's a lot of trauma, everything will go away with the peel. So if you see, guys, if your peeling on the clients is a lot, you have to rethink your way of how you do microblading or shading. Maybe you did too strong or it was incorrect. Can we use the same color in microblading and shading together? Yes, definitely. So you can use microblading the same color. And for the shading with microblading, you do have to use the lighter pressure when you do shading, because you want to create this depth. Otherwise, why to use microblading with shading if your shading is going to be really dense and dark. Even if you're using the same color, if you do lightly the shading, it will heal lighter than the shade you used, right? Even if they originally they were the same color. But if you're going to shade like really a lot, first of all, your microblading will get blurry after the healing. You will not see any microblading. It just will look dirty because the microblading will get blurry, and then you will not have this clean brow. Okay, so the perfect way how we combine microblading with shading, if we do microblading first, then we use just a little bit of light shading on top, or even better, the best is manual shading on microblading. I give you the secret. It will heal the best. It will not influence the hair strokes because they always get blurry under a lot of shading. So if your client wants to have dark eyebrows, but she wants to have dark eyebrows, but she wants to have microblading. So it's a bit contradiction because microblading is natural procedure. It won't get the eyebrows dark. If she wants dark, she needs a lot of shading and microblading. But if she wants to have, if we want to have a lot of shading, we can't put a lot of shading on microblading because it's going to mess up the microblading. So what I do a lot of shading on the first procedure, and then on the second procedure, I add microblading, and that's the best way. Okay, I'm like, where did I? Okay, I was going to airport, and there was one guy who made me so nervous because there was a whole thing about passport and stuff. I was like, okay. So I guess took from him, okay. But I don't mean it. I mean, just if you understood. Oh, I have so much troubles coming back here. I wish I do another live about all the troubles I have. I will never forget this experience. Anyway, back to your guys' questions. Can you show how to do manually? Yes, the small videos and YouTube videos are coming. I already collected them, so it will be I will post them. What color of your brows do you use for Asians? Because Asians, they have dark brown or black. If dark brown is BR2, if black is BR3. If the color of the hair is blonde, is BR1. So BR1 is really light. BR2 could be for medium to dark hair color. For the black is BR3. They have only 3 pigments there, so it's really simple. If your clients have blonde, you just use BR1. Oops, hold on. Which needle is good for ombre shading? I'm beginner. So for ombre shading, use 1 RL. The reason why I don't use 3 RL, yes, 3 RL can definitely shade it everything faster. 3 RL, the 3 RL needles together, you can shade faster the eyeliner. But for the front, if you want to have the seamless transition, you would want to use 1 RL. And there's no point in switching 3 RL here, 1 RL. It just makes no sense. You can shade everything with 1 RL and don't be worried. Because 3 RL is like this, right? So it's like this instead of 1 RL, which is like this. So of course you're going to have the dot of this diameter at the front. It's just going to be too much dots, okay? If the skin gets red, could it also be the fault of the machine? Yes, also can be fault of the machine. Also can be fault of your pressure, of your technique, and also can be fault of the clients. If the machine is very harsh, it's going to make the skin red. There are softer machines that I've talked a lot before, and more stronger machines, harsh machines. The harsh machines are better for the hair strokes. The soft machines with softer vibration are better for ombre. That's why in Asia they like to use manual shading, because they don't know that soft machines exist, because they only use the China harsh machines, and they think it makes the skin bleeds and the pigment doesn't get inside. But if they know which machines are soft, they won't have any problems with that. But if you're advanced artist, you can even create a nice ombre on harsh machines. It's again about your technique. You have to just be more lighter with your pressure. Is the numbing cream really necessary for the first path? No. And after too much talking, I will tell you the story about my numbing cream. What is the numbing cream? What is first numbing cream? What is the secondary numbing? So first numbing cream, why can it get inside? Why can it numb the brows? What's the difference between the first numbing cream and secondary numbing cream? Why secondary numbing cream works so well on the open skin when first numbing cream doesn't work so well? And why the secondary numbing cream doesn't work on the not unbroken skin? So the first numbing cream have why you can put on the dry skin and it can get it numb, because it has the agents inside, not only lidocaine, which will open the skin, which will make the skin softer, which will open the skin to let the lidocaine get inside. Versus the secondary numbing cream is just the lidocaine, because the skin is already open. You just have to get the lidocaine inside to numb the brows. But if the skin is closed, you need to have another agent which will open the skin and get the lighting. Okay, that's why I have to get rid of this okay thing. That's why the first numbing cream sometimes can make the skin softer or not so suitable for procedure. But in my experience, by the way, it's a good thing to try one eyebrow for YouTube video, one eyebrow with numbing cream, another eyebrow without the numbing cream. I always use the first numbing cream, and especially for the machine Hairstroke, don't try to do this without first numbing cream. It's going to be really painful. For microblading, because I use the thinnest needles, so they do not affect the result. It still stays thin, very thin, even using the first numbing cream. So that's why I never thought of not using the first numbing cream, and it makes me stressful. And yeah, so I definitely will save this video, so don't worry. Should we use numbing cream before starting microblading? Yes, you can use microblading, but the thing is about needle. Don't use too thick needles. Always look at diameter of the needle. It has to be really thin, because the thicker the needle will make the skin, this cut thicker, and also it may lead to scars, and it's also not so good for the healing. The skin have to do much work to heal the thicker cut rather than the thinner. That's why you better do the darken the brows on your touch up rather than on the first procedure, because if you can't really make too dark eyebrows with microblading, because you can't open the skin, cut the skin too much. It's just going to leave the scars. So if you want to darken your eyebrows, just divide this into several procedures. What type of needles do you use for microblading? Okay, this is finally the packaging has been done for Beauty/Nano Flow needles, so actually they are ready to be shipped, but I will announce I think 2 dates when you can guys take them out for a half price, because I just want you guys to try them out. So I'm just going to sell everything. I have of them only 500 pieces, only 500. So I'm going just to give them away. You can try them out. I will announce the date when you can just get them. And after that they're going to be on Amazon, so you don't have to worry about getting them and etc. The NanoFlow Beauty/needles, they are 0.14 millimeters, so they are extra thin and sharp. That's why you can get the healed result very crisp without any scars. So, but later, I hope you guys can try it out and let me know. Did you try a QnA Pigments? No, I haven't tried. Would love to listen. Sorry it was so hard. Wishing you the rest. Yeah. Trying to understand. Do you mean that you shade on the first visit and then microblade on second touch-up visit? Only for clients who want to have the very dark, dense eyebrows. So they show me the pictures, and I see it's like shading. There's not much microblade in the picture they showed. So I'm explaining them that maybe you should pick the shading because the brows you want, they are really dark. But no, I still want microblading. So then I suggest to do the combination microblading with shading, and then I suggest them to do the shading on the first procedure to shade really dense the brows, let it heal, and then add on touch up on the second visit the microblading on top. Because unfortunately, if you're going to do together on the first procedure, you're going to do microblading, it's correct, but then you're going to put so much shading on top, it's going to mess up the microblading, and the microblading will heal blurry. So what I do microblading at the front, and on this part I'm doing the the shading here, and then on touch up I'm just going to add microblading or microblading with light shading. Please suggest me the darkest shade for ombre from Permablend. Because look guys, I'm using Tina Davis. I've never used Permablend. So I know Tina Davis is the same with Permablend, but I mean the line of colors, I've used Tina Davis. So after I'm saving this video, you guys can review what colors I've suggested for Tina Davis. Are the results different on machine shading and manual shading? With manual shading, it's harder to control the distribution of the dots rather than with machine. As for me, the manual shading, it's way longer procedure, and with manual you have to switch so many needles. Like when you want to do the crisp tail, you have to use another needle. When you want to have the front, you need to switch to another needle. The body of the brow is another needle. So it's just too much work, but it is good for putting that on microblading just because it's so gentle. You're just picking it in specific spots where you need this, versus shading it's just going to traumatize your strokes more. But results wise, manual a little bit darker for me, because I know I can create with machine really light eyebrows. With manual, it's always a bit darker and more like you can really see the dots, if you know what I mean. More like stronger pixelate look. What other procedure can be done for very sensitive skin type? Sensitive skin types, it means it can bleed, it can be very painful. I think the shading, the soft shading manual would be the best. Or if you're using the soft machine, you can do this with machine very easily. Just have to be more gentle. But it's hard to get anything like, you can do microblading, but if it bleeds a lot, there's going to be a poor retention because the blood will push out the pigment. And you can do the machine Hairstroke, but then if you're a beginner, it's really easy to get too deep inside the skin, and then you have this blue healed result. The same actually with microblading. If you're going too deep, you're just going to have a blue result. Can be shading lighter pigment and then darker pigment with machine strokes? Yes. So we start always with machine Hairstroke first, and then we add shading, because anything you do before Hairstroke, it's going to soften the skin. So that's why we never do shading first and then microblading. So machine, you can do machine hair stroke with a darker pigment, and you can use lighter pigment for shading. That's no problem. With machine hair stroke, you can definitely combine this in with one procedure, so you don't have to separate machine hair strokes and shading into two different procedures, because that's different from microblading. Microblading, you are cutting the skin. That's why you need to be really careful about that cut. You don't want this cut to be too open or too cut. It's really have to be very careful. But if you're using the machine, it's just like a shading. It leaves the dots. So it's actually, machine hair stroke is the same as shading. So shading on shading doesn't affect anything. I use Polar. What level is good for powder brows? You mean the speed, right? Good question. I'll need to ask someone who's using Polar. Do you recommend shading solution for machine work? So I've answered this question at the beginning. When you will rewatch this video, the first big topic was the shading solution, but I think I haven't answered. If you're doing the machine hair strokes, I don't use the shading solution for machine hair strokes. Do you have experience with the Nano Numb from Fib Brows? For first numbing cream, it really doesn't matter which numbing cream you're using. Absolutely doesn't matter. Because in terms of the pain, they are all the same, but then the secondary numbing cream is really effective. So once you open the skin, then the secondary numbing cream is the one who will help you to get rid of the pain. I use Soothe Tattoo for the secondary numbing cream. Are the hue pigments from Fee white hue better than the ones that comes in bottles like BR2, BR3? I think they're the same. Honestly, I don't know what's the difference. Sometimes it could be in... yeah, I haven't noticed any big difference. So you can use any. But there's difference between the contour pigments, which are for the machine, and just for microblading. So contour pigments are thinner than for microblading, because for microblading they're quite thick. For contour they're thinner, they're for machine, but they're still thicker than Tina Davis. Tina Davis are really watery. The Fib brows are thicker, and but they after procedure they don't look orangey. But I still like Tina Davis because I guess more variety of colors. Is no veil contour considered to be soft machine for shading? So you never can unfortunately know which machine is soft or harsh. You can judge this by comparison, unfortunately, compared to with the other machines. Usually you can go to the tattoo shop and try them out, or you can go to not conferences, what's that called, exhibitions, where you can try different machines. You can see if it's vibrating soft or strong vibration. If it's strong vibration, it's hard. If it's vibrating soft or quite a lot, it's considered to be softer machine. But it's a hard question. Unfortunately I wish to give you advice, but I've never tried that machine. And sometimes if it's a good teacher on offline training, they would give you to try different machines. Can I buy the numbing cream via your website? So I don't sell numbing cream. I think you can type, if you're looking for Soothe Tattoo, you can type Soothe Tattoo, and the website that will be closer to your where you live, you will get it. Where to get the numbing cream? So I just went to the drugstore and asked numbing cream with lidocaine 5%. So they gave me EMLA 5% lidocaine. That's the one I am using. I know there are a lot of brands of numbing cream, but that one is completely fine, so I never switched to anything else. I know some people say, what if it's still painful? It's just because some clients are more painful, some clients are less painful, and that is fine because the first numbing cream is not so important. The secondary numbing cream is what is more important. What is the diameter of the blade? So my NanoFlow Beauty Slash needles, they are 0.14, 0.15 millimeter. So I don't recommend to use anything higher than 0.15 millimeter, but also depends on the material the blades are. I think because I've went into this field, there's just so much to dig in, and unfortunately the products that you guys get on AliExpress or Amazon, that they are the same from China, the same factory. So the higher there's different material that you can use for the blade, stainless steel, and there's different grades of the material, so they will never write this on blades, so you just have to test different needles to know. Are you going to do machine needles as well? I think I remember your question about the membrane, and it's I wish I started with this topic because I'm already getting a bit tired. I wish I started this topic at the beginning, but I will try to explain to you guys. So there are two membranes. One membrane is protecting, so when the needle goes back, the membrane locked the needle. In most of the fibrous machine, the quantum machine, this is the membrane that we have. In Beauty Slash Hairstroke machine, this is the membrane we have. There's another membrane which is used for tattoo, so it's different. You guys have to understand. The membrane that is there, it's completely locked. Why do they create this membrane? Because people who are in tattoo, they are doing tattoo procedures, not permanent makeup procedures. They have to have a lot of pigment inside because the work they do requires a lot of pigment. So when the reason why this membrane exists is because they don't want the pigment. If you're not careful, all this pigment will go from the needle inside the machine, because it's like water. So you can put the water inside and see if the water gets through, right? So it's completely locked, because some cases where when the pigment went through this membrane and get into the machine, once this pigment gets into the machine, it's unsterilizable, so you have to throw away the machine and get a new one. In our permanent makeup, there is no cases then when the pigment will go into the machine, because the pigment we're using is really small. So the tiny portions that we're using, we're not tattoo artists. So the membrane, which is the first type, is enough. If you're in tattoo industry, you have to use the membrane, which is the second type, which is completely closed. So even when the needle go up, it's still closed. That membrane exists, forgot the brand of the needles, Universe cartridges. But also not in every cartridge. So the first type of membrane are, you were asking if there are in my machine. Yes, they are in my machine, so you don't have to worry about that. For other people who don't know, the Hairstroke machine, Beauty Slash Hairstroke machine for the Hairstroke. Next one. What hand tool for shading you use? Where to buy? Is it, am I slow or is it off? Hold on, guys. I need you guys feedback if it's still on, because I feel it's like stopped. I don't know if you guys waiting me to say, or it's just everybody is like out. Give me some hearts so I know if I don't bother you or it's not too boring for you guys to listen. I'm probably being slower now. Just give me some hearts so I know if we should continue, or you guys already have to go or anything. Okay, thank you. So I will not bother you a lot. We've been talking for 1 hour. Actually, I don't know if the live video will be closed after 1 hour, but I hope to answer your guys' question more. If I haven't answered, we can definitely do another live video. Maybe I can, after I post this video, you just leave your questions there. So in my next live video, I'm going to answer those questions. I have 2 weeks over here in quarantine. You can call me on the phone, ask me, hi Slash, how are you? I will be like answering you since I have so much time. What hand tool for shading you use? Do you mean the machine? So because I'm using the watery pigments, I still use my machine Hairstroke for shading. However, if your pigments are thicker or thick pigments, for this machine it won't work, because originally this machine was for the Hairstroke and the watery pigments are the best. So it's going to be harder for you to use the thicker pigments. Maybe you can buy a QnA machine or Belar, but they're more expensive. But they're good machines. How do you know when to stop shading? Is it based on the number of passes? No, it's based on the color you see. So if the client wants to have dark brown, you already reached the dark brown, you are going to stop. You are not going to make the eyebrows darker, because you need to see how it heals. Sometimes when I went darker than my client wanted, it healed dark. And the client were complaining, could you make this lighter? So I really worried to overdo. I better do as she wants on our first procedure, even I know it's going to be lighter. It's fine, because I already explained the client that we need to test first. And then on second time, I know already how much color it dropped after the first procedure, so that's how much more I'm going to add color on her second visit. Can you do more live classes for mixing colors, please? Good idea. Could you please also tell me, do you mean what colors to use for what clients, or do you mean just give me more ideas so I know what to tell? Tell us which number we should mix. Tell us which number we should mix. Do you mean what colors do I mix for what type of clients, right? What the numbers of Tina Davis pigments? What machine do you recommend? So here do shading. I know the best machine would be QnA just for shading, because it has the good vibration. Some people don't like QnA because it's too heavy. Some people prefer Belar. Belar is lighter, but it's more towards hair strokes. And but if you're into Hairstroke, if you're looking for a good machine but which is cheaper than Belar, it is Beauty Slash Hairstroke machine. So it's creating perfect strokes. I think it's kind of the same as Belar, but just it's cheaper. How can the work fix from the first time without make second one? Do you mean how to do removal? I'm not sure what you mean. You're the best. Thank you, guys. I love to receive nice words. I've been too busy talking and not reading, but I really appreciate your guys' feedback. How can we do lip blush with no numbing? I would definitely put the numbing cream on lip blush. There is no reason why not to use the numbing cream on lip blush, but I do know some artists do not use the numbing cream. That would be too nervous for me not to use. I would feel too nervous. Where can we buy the Sooth tattoo? So Sooth tattoo, you just Google. It will show the closest website to the country you live in. How to make a color lighter with machine shading. How to make the color lighter. Could you rephrase this question? So with your technique, you can make any light shading. If you have a wide movement, when you have a wide movement, the dots going to be more further apart from each other. That's why the shade will be lighter. Yeah, but maybe I don't understand what you mean. Please tell how to use the shading solution and when. So I've just, when I turn on this live video, after I save this live video, you're going to see the first question I answered was how to use the shading solution. So just watch this video after I re-upload on my Instagram. How to remove the microblading if same client has, or we do mistakes during the work. So I suggest to take the removal online course. After you take the online course, they will give you the removal solution, which you can use. I think it's worth taking this class. And I believe there is one right after the procedure, which is less strong, and there are stronger removal solutions which only can be used after the brows are healed. So there are different types, so it's still, you need to learn about this. I'm looking to train in machine work. Do you think online course is just as good as in person? It's definitely, in terms of knowledge and in terms of showing you everything in very detail, is definitely better. Even if you took offline course, 100% I suggest to take online course, just because you can really see and come back to everything what is there. You can see and rewatch videos. I've taken offline course. It didn't help me as much as would help online course. However, indeed, sometimes you do need somebody to see your work. If you press too much, if your pressure is too much, you can really feel it if the trainer, if the teacher is next to you and he can put his finger on the skin to feel if you're going too deep or not. If you already took microblading offline course, you can take a machine. If you already know the knowledge of where's the pigment should be, what is the pressure, if you already, that will be much easier. Basically, I've learned my shading actually myself after I took microblading. I've learned this myself. For machine hair stroke, pretty much I've learned it myself too. But after I've learned it, after I did a lot of mistakes, then because I didn't know what's the speed, what's the pressure, like how to hold the machine, everything, how to twist the skin, I didn't know this. But honestly, if I were to do the shading, I would watch online class on how to do hair stroke, I think I would get it. So it's pretty much as outline in shading, but there are just a little bit different things to know, but it's doable, and it's all about practicing on latex. So I think yes, but if you haven't taken anything at all, no. So you still do have to have some offline, of course, definitely. If clients bleed, does that mean you are too deep or possibly dry needling? If the client bleeds, well, the sensitive skin is if the client's skin is a bit reddish or have a lot of pimples or is thin. If thin, you will see like the veins. So that skin will bleed, and you do have to work very shallow indeed. Sometimes my clients bleed, but it's just normal bleeding. It's not too much bleeding, just a little bit of blood coming out, it's fine. But if it's really bleeds, then the skin is not so suitable for microblading. It's better to do manual shading in that case. How can I get a good grip of microblading blade? Mm, you know, I would suggest to leave this question for you under this video when I upload this on Instagram. So in my next live videos, I can be on my table and already show you guys maybe something with the hands, so you can see. Because it's 12 a.m. here, and it's kicking me in, so I will definitely not. I'm just so tired to go there pick up the blade, but I still can answer the questions. I will answer, and then for questions that you guys didn't receive answer, you just leave them. What if the person has no eyebrows at all? How do you know where on the brow bone to place the eyebrow? You have to, guys, look. Everybody has the brow bone. This is the brow bone. If I touch, this is my brow bone, and um, this got me stuck. How do you know where to on brow bone to place the eyebrow? But you just place on brow bone. It's not going to be upper or lower. It's just going to be on the brow bone. Any special techniques? Special techniques for which procedure? Are 18 needles blades too large for making crisp? No. It's all on diameter of the needle. The size, it really doesn't matter. 18, because if you're going to take, if the needle is very thin, if it's 18 or 16 or 14, is pretty much the same thing. So the size, in this case, the size doesn't matter, because I remember I was working on 9 needles, but they were so thick that it felt like mine right now, which is 18. My needles are 18, and they feels the same as 9 needles for thicker blade, so it just doesn't matter. How do you color correct brows? How many passes of color correction? Oh my god, we have to get to that point too. We haven't get to the color correction. Are there any machines that you would recommend for someone who is starting out, that doesn't have that much money, that wouldn't really good for shading, that can be purchased on Amazon or another website? Then why don't you try Bella Dragon machine from my website? It's pretty cheap, and I was working on the Bella Dragon for years. I don't have any problems with that. The only I switched to my beauty/Hairstroke machine is because now I'm doing the hair strokes, so it makes no sense for me to change the machine. So I'm still doing the shading with my beauty/Hairstroke machine. But then if you're doing the shading, the Bella Dragon from my website is very soft. I don't know. Or, yeah. Oh, thank you so much for this video. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Samara's beauty stuff. Can we use your Hairstroke machine only for shading, or could we use it for microblading too? So my Hairstroke machine can be used for shading and microblading both. It was designed for microblading because we lowered the vibration on this machine to get very crisp hair strokes. So that's why it's for Hairstroke. But I do use this machine for shading, but if the pigments are more watery, not so thick. If you're going to use very thick, like cream base, it's harder to do shading. But it's hard for me to explain because the needles for hair strokes are different from the needles for the shading. So when you're using the needles for hair strokes, you can use any pigment, it's fine. But when you're using the needle for shading, it's different type. And that type is better to use just more thinner type of pigments. But you can shade the whole eyebrow, and I'm going to even post in 2 weeks the shading video on my YouTube using the beauty/Hairstroke machine. Okay, so I got it. Which pigment to use with which skin? I guess it's still for you guys confusing, even though I explained to you guys just now. Maybe I should make like the pictures of different clients, and we can together see which color will suit for that client. I think it will be the best. So I still suggest to leave this question under after I post this video. Can we light dark eyebrows in microblading by using light brown in touch up? Okay, so you're talking about lighten up the dark eyebrows. Yes, you even can use brown pigment and add a lot of orange color, orange crush from Permablend to the pigment. And or use even the blonde color with orange. So it's really great to making the, especially the bluish eyebrows lighter. I guess if its brows are too dark, probably they went a little bit blue. How to get the worksheet of mixing colors. So you can, because I will upload this video, you will see there, like, there you will see the video I took, so you can just take the screenshot. Can you do shading with your Beauty Slash machine as well? Yes, I think I've just was talking about this. What machine is good for eyeliner? Any machine. For eyeliner, it doesn't matter. I would still not pick very harsh machine for eyeliner, because you need to have the softer machine, since the eye area is kind of sensitive. Do you know long time liner machine? I think I've heard about this. You know, guys, it's just such a pity they sell. Unfortunately, they sell so cheap machines with such a high price, unfortunately, which doesn't cost its money. Maybe it's a good machine, but I've never tried. I never tried it. Yes, the one I showed you on computer about colors, you just, after I save this video, you will take the screenshot. What is the number of the unmade do you use for crisp strokes? What is the number of, maybe passes? How many passes do I do for crisp hair strokes for microblading? For microblading or for machine hair stroke? So for microblading, even when I do just one stroke, I can do immediately 3 times. Or I can, even if I do 1 time, then I go to this eyebrow, I come back and I fill in like 3 times or 4 times inside one brow. And actually I'm done. So I'm not going into too much back and forth. It's probably just this side, then coming to this side, and then coming to that side, and that's finish. So I'm not, but within this time when I come back here, I insert the pigment inside one cut around 3 times. Just make sure I slide through the pigment nicely through the cut. By the way, how do you like my painting? It's like been 3 months. I haven't bought anything there, and we've been traveling, and I haven't found. I was thinking I had the dreams about drawing myself an eyebrow there, based in Eyebrow, but never get to that point. When do you start your machine hairstroke course? Good question. I am actually starting it now, because I'm in quarantine. As I promised, I will do machine hairstroke course when I'm in quarantine. So I am recording the videos right now, but I just don't want to feel stressful from not completing the course. So I'm still going to announce 2 dates. The reason why I want to announce 2 dates is because I'm afraid that you guys will miss the first date. This is the dates when you can get as cheap as possible the course. So the course will be discounted to $199. In these 2 days you can get it. Other than that, they will have another price. These dates I will announce soon, probably the day after tomorrow. So you guys write these dates out, and this is the dates where you can get the course. You can get it after, of course, but just the price will not be this price, and that's it. And I guess after this 2 weeks, we can start the course together. I guess I will finish the course within 2 weeks. So this course is for getting you the theory, getting your hand how to hold the machine for hair stroke. It's a little bit different from the shading, and the movement of your hand. Then we will cover everything about the machine, the needles types, the skin types. We will also talk about the colors, like all the base we will do. Then we will also do on latex, because 90% of success is your latex. So we are going to get you practiced with me for the Hairstroke. In our Facebook group, you're going to submit your videos so we can chat with each other and see how to improve. Basically, it's going to be a lot of work for you guys with machine Hairstroke, because I want you to get the pattern done. And then another big part, we're going to be reviewing the patterns, microblading patterns, which is for machine Hairstroke are the same. So we're going to be practicing the patterns. So I will get you have a nice, beautiful pattern on latex. And then another course, because you need to finish this course first to proceed to another course with the clients. Another course will be just showing you how to position yourself with the clients when you do the Hairstroke. But trust me, 90% is this course. Unfortunately, or unfortunately, is this. Once you can get your strokes, machine strokes nice, then you're good to go. Which pigment brand do you suggest on lip blush? I'm using the Permablend line for lips. I think the Tina Davis also fine. I saw her line is she has the right colors, because I'm working on Asians, so I do need a lot of orange color to cover the dark eyebrows. Lips. Usually they have the darker lips, so I need to use the orange tone more. Would you ever consider coming to the United States? I cannot wait. I can't wait. Take me with all hands back to United States as soon as guys, what? I even think to come this summer. If everything will be fine after the summer, but because the situation with COVID, so I'm waiting for the COVID. I'll definitely take me. I'm coming. I'll show you guys how to hold the machines, how to do microblading and stuff like that. I want to learn machine Hairstroke and microblading. So I suggest to start with my online course, Machine Hairstroke, because pretty much we will cover a lot of things that intersects with microblading. At least the patterns will be intersecting with microblading, so it's good to take. But then if you want to work on clients and you haven't taken any offline courses at all, will be a little bit difficult and challenging. But yeah, you definitely should. I'm offering my place if you ever come to Canada to just I'm coming. Take me. Okay, United States and Canada. I'm coming. Yeah, would be fun. Even just to meet you guys in coffee shop to talk. Just yeah, that would be fun time. So after the COVID, do you microblade before powder brows or after powder brows? So you never microblade before powder brows. Sorry, you never microblade on powder brows, because when you do powder brows, you are irritating the skin. The skin gets soft and red. Once the skin is red, you cannot cut the skin, because if you cut, the skin is already soft, so it's not the strokes will get blurry. Is there a tip how to avoid patchiness with powder brows? Yes, with this I need to take the machine. So guys, so I will save this video. I unfortunately have to say goodbye to you. There are a lot of questions that will be awesome. You to come to the United States, where do you go? There's a lot of questions I haven't covered. Oh my god. I am available. Let's do another chat, so please save this question post them under the video I'm going to upload now. I saw one question about white pencil. I just really quickly will reply you about white pencil. I've been saying I had white pencil before. The problem with white pencil I had, unfortunately, at the back of the white pencil, it was broken. So the whole batch of pencils, they were not good because of the part at the back. So I just had to throw them away. I haven't done new pencils from them, and also I've noticed if you want to the white color, unfortunately, if you want to have this smooth, soft white color, it's hard to do. Or if you because of the quality of the white color, you can do brown, you can do black, but with white color, it's the most difficult. So if you want to have like a hardcore pencil that doesn't break and have a very smooth, silky formula, you can't sharpen it in like flat tip. So it's always the pencils with a round tip. I don't know if you guys interested to have the pencils with the round tip. I'd rather have the pencils with the flat tip like this, so I can have the nice line under the brow, so I can nicely outline it, so I can sharpen it flat. But you can have that white pencil in round shape. So what I'm trying to do to say why a lot of artists doesn't have the white pencil is because of the white color formula. It's impossible. The pencils you have on Amazon or from Quantum pencils, they are white pencils. They are the same. They are hardcore. They are hard to sharpen, which is good, but unfortunately they are not so smooth to leave the pigment. So maybe you guys were complaining why it's hard to draw with a white pencil, because of the white color. So the solution is to dip the pencil into makeup remover, and then it will draw really nicely. So that's the tip. So you can purchase the white pencil and just dip it into makeup remover. So I'm sending you big hugs, and thank you guys for such a nice feedback, for people who offered me their homes. Thank you so much. I see you're a big inspiration to me. I started just same as you guys, and I just wanted to give you as much possible information as I can, because there was no information when I started out. I've made a lot of mistakes. I just don't want you guys to make these mistakes. So if you need my help, very welcome to please leave your questions and text me on messages, and I'll see you guys in the next live videos. Goodbye.